All right, we're live.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Cleveland Community Police Commission Police Training Committee meeting. So thank you for everyone who's here. Also for anyone who's watching online, welcome as well. Just want to start by calling the meeting to order, and it is 6:03 p.m. on November the 13th, 2024. I will start with roll call. Commissioner Chur.
Present.
Commissioner Rodriguez.
Present.
And then Commissioner Benito is on leave, and Commissioner Donaldson, I am present. All right, so looking at the agenda, does anyone have any questions about it, any additions? We did receive the meetings from the July and August meeting, so I would like to add approval of those minutes to the agenda if everyone's okay with that. All right, unanimous consent. So we'll add that to the agenda. We can just do it after public comment. That's fine. Any additions? Good. All right. So with that, we will move to public comment.
Not yet.
All right. Well, let's go back to approving the minutes from July and August. I looked at them already. You all have a chance to look over them. All right. And if so, can I please get a motion to approve these?
I don't know the July date. I move to approve the minutes from July 10th, 2024 for the Police Training Committee.
All right, so
I second it.
motion has been on the floor and also seconded to approve the July 10th meetings or minutes. So we will move to a vote. Commissioner Chur.
Aye.
Commissioner Rodriguez.
Aye.
And then I, Commissioner Donaldson, I'm aye as well. Thank you for that. So July minutes are approved. Then next would be August.
I move to approve the minutes from August 14th, 2024 for the Cleveland Community Police Commission Police Training Committee.
I second it.
Thank you. All right, motion to approve the August minutes has been seconded. So we will move to a vote. Commissioner Chur.
Aye.
Commissioner Rodriguez.
Aye.
And I, Commissioner Donaldson, aye as well. So those are approved. So thank you all for that. All right, so next on the agenda, we will move into new business. So we have quite a few things on the agenda. The first thing I want to start with would be the firearms requalifications trainings. And just a little background on these. So these requalifications involve stages that cannot be changed because there is OPOTA guidance, which is the Ohio Police Officer Training Academy. So they have certain guidelines and guidance that they put out, and these requalifications are based on those guidelines. So we're really kind of just here to review it, but there really isn't a thing that we can change per se when it comes to the requalifications for the firearms trainings. But they can do, and by they I mean CDP, they can do supplemental trainings. So if there's something that we think should be added, there could be maybe an additional training that's created that's related or relevant to these requalifications. But the ones we're looking at here tonight, we can't necessarily make any changes to these. Any questions about that? And Jim, is that good? I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
That's correct on what you said. This is state mandated. The range unit will, every year they might do like other things. You might do, you might be on one side of a field, one on the other, and you'll shoot it like a steel target. One guy shooting, the other one will advance or move, maneuver, fire and maneuver. Other thing we have is we have a days off course where if you pass it, you get 4 days off, and it goes down by your score up to 2 days, and that time will be paid. So there's an incentive for officers to go, and it's not an easy course. It's more of a combat course where targets are turning and you have to be quick and reloading and everything else. So they do have other supplemental things with the pistol for sure.
Thank you. So the other thing I want to add is that this is an annual requalification as well. So I guess we can start by looking at the pistol requalification. And then, I mean, if you all have any general thoughts on those, we can do that. I did not plan on going through these page by page. I'll just kind of scroll through. And like I said, if you have any questions or anything, just let me know. And are these uploaded online? Okay, thank you for doing that.
The only thing that is not online is that Excel spreadsheet that you sent me. I had a problem turning it into a PDF, but everything else is one document. You should be able to click the link and it's all good.
Okay, thank you. And just to reiterate that for anyone watching, all of the documents that we're reviewing are online. They were uploaded. So thank you again for doing that. All right, so Pistol in Service 2025. Like I said, I looked through this, seemed pretty straightforward to me. I personally don't own a gun, so it was interesting for me reading through this, even thinking about how, the weapons are loaded, unloaded, like the stages, all of those things. So I thought it was very interesting training. It seems to me to be definitely necessary when you think about proper use of the weapon, stance, all of those things, sights, everything. So, first page here, just cover, and then it is a 3-hour training. It's a course, and then the point of all of these is for them to start next year is the goal. So once we review, once it goes to full commission for approval, then they will start utilizing these trainings next year. And then again, here on page 4 or 3 into 4, it does have the reference here, which is the OPOTA qualification course. So again, this training is pulled straight from those guidelines. Anything you all have or anything you want to add?
I was just going to say, the pistol course is pretty much the same as it has been for quite a few years now. I know the shotgun changed a little bit, but they've been doing the same, unloading a different way than what I was taught in the academy. But it's pretty much the same.
Thank you. All right, so I don't have anything to add to this. Like I said, it talks about the different stages of the course, disassembling the weapons, putting, inspecting ammo. It goes through all of the different aspects, even classroom details are here. So, yeah, did you have anything? All right. All right, so that one is it. I don't know if you all want to review them one by one or just, okay. All right. All right, so next one we will do is the shotgun requalification. All right, same with this one. 3 hours training in service, slated to begin next year. Again, the OPOTA qualification course is referenced here. And I did ask when I had a conversation with Commander Magooth about the trainings and the guidelines and, what exactly it meant for this aspect as far as us reviewing. The examples he gave me was like, for example, stage 1, it has here 4 seconds, 2 rounds. Those are the things that we cannot update, we can't change. So when I say that we can't make any changes for anyone who's listening or watching, that's what I mean. Like, we can't go in here and say, that should be 3 rounds or things like that. Like, this is pulled straight from the Ohio Police Officer Training Academy. Right, any comments about this one at all? Nothing, all right. And then the next one would be the TASER requalification. Same thing for this one, 3 hours training. And also want to note that the GPOs are also referenced in this one as well.
If I wanted to, maybe they could hyperlink them, especially since we're reviewing and since it would be easier to reference it.
So hyperlinking GPOs.
And then even with the students, if they need to refer back to them, but particularly us too.
Got it. Thank you. All right, so yeah, typical agenda setup, safety review, the training, the equipment review, also a recap at the end, and then dismissal for these as well. All right, so pistol, shotgun, and taser requalifications. That would be those 3. Any comments about any of those at all? Good. All right. And I'll send a note over about hyperlinking the GPOs. All right. Someone to put forth a motion to send these to the full commission.
Go ahead, you could try.
I'd like to make a motion to have the pistol requalification, shotgun requalification, and taser requalification sent to the full commission for a vote of approval.
Second.
All right, thank you. So motion has been put up to send the pistol requalification, shotgun requalification, and taser requalification to the full commission for approval, and it has been seconded. So any discussion? All right, so we'll move to a vote. Commissioner Chura?
Aye.
Commissioner Rodriguez?
Aye.
And I, Commissioner Donaldson, and I as well. So that has been approved and will be sent to the full commission for review and approval as well. All right, so next item is going to be the ABLE refresher. So this is the active bystander for law enforcement refresher. Right, background on this. So this was created by Georgetown's Innovative Policing Program. Again, it can be supplemented, but since this training is already, put together, we wouldn't necessarily be changing this. We would just be reviewing it. And CDP can, add any supplemented training they need, any materials. I did ask if this has been used before, and it has. So this is the third year that this ABLE refresher has been used. This is the most updated version here that we're looking at, and it is also an annual basis. The one thing that I noted about this one was that I think it was this one that you couldn't look at the videos. Was that?
Yes,
Yeah.
this is
So, I read through the text and I kind of put everything into context. But there are some videos in here that we weren't able to click on or view the actual videos. But like I said, the PowerPoint slides and everything that goes along with it, I felt was probably provided enough context for me not to actually have to view the actual video. Question for Commissioner Chura. So I'm assuming you haven't done anything related to this, or like, did y'all have anything?
This was all new.
New, okay.
We never had this when I was active with Cleveland. Reading through it, there are some things we did with the 3Ds, quite often, if you had to. So I think it's good the way they actually put it down on paper, how we would, if you were doing something, hey, don't do that, or, we'd step in, if someone's getting too emotional, let their emotions dictate what they were going to do with somebody. So yeah, it works. Distraction, directly going in there, or having maybe higher level officer, more respected officer, so talk to somebody too if you were low man. But
yeah,
I think it's a really good idea to have this program.
Thank you. Right, and then this is just going through the refresher itself. So just table of contents, going through what ABLE means, different ideas as it relates to bystander. I did think that I appreciated how they talked through the science behind bystanding and what it means to be a bystander, because to me it made sense, but I've never seen it presented in this way, and I just never thought about it. Especially as it relates to police enforcement. So I thought that the training was pretty concise, pretty straight to the point. I thought that the examples that were provided were definitely relevant. This is a 2-hour training. But yeah.
So, especially since it came from Georgetown, do they have like ways to evaluate on how, because even though you take a program from somewhere, sometimes there might be things that might be different in Cleveland, or unforeseen circumstances that may, help make it successful or act as a variable. So I'm wondering if they have evaluations to kind of supplement, how it's working in Cleveland.
Yeah, that's a good question. I remember when we talked about other trainings in the past, we asked that same question about evaluations. And I remember Commander Magoof and Lieutenant Smith saying that they do have evaluations that they go through. But yeah, that's a good point, because I don't think the end of this said anything about that, but we could definitely ask them how they go about evaluating trainings that are created and presented from like external organizations. And since this is the third, will be the third year of them using it, then I'm assuming that they have something from, yeah. So yeah, that's a good point. right. Any other things about this one in particular? Yeah. All right.
Well, I guess I'll just make a comment. I like the fact that they have this training, to really reflect, to see like, oh, am I acting as a bystander and different ways, like you said, the science and how we can intervene appropriately. Because especially in certain scenarios, you might feel uncomfortable. So building that muscle hypothetically will allow you to intervene
Mhm.
better and act as a preventative measure.
And it's something they could throw in the scenario training too, so the officers that act.
Oh, yeah, that's a really good point. So throwing aspects of like bystanders into the scenario trainings. Yeah.
Maybe an officer, going a little too far, so make sure the officers.
Yeah, yeah, and maybe
Even role playing that, because
That's right, yeah.
especially in the scenario, it's, you have to build that muscle because, some people are more vocal naturally, maybe their upbringing, but others, they may have a different communication style.
Yeah.
And, they might have to learn and teach this.
Thank you. So I will definitely send those 2 points over as far as, question about evaluations and how that's done, and maybe looking at the past 2 years, and then also adding some sort of bystander intervention into the scenario trainings. All right. So this one is pretty much done as well. Like I said, nothing to change here. We're just sending this over for the full commission to review as well, and then approve if they choose to do so with the department moving forward as this, or using this as training. All right.
Okay. I move to allow the ABLE refresher to go to the full commission meeting held on November 20th, 2024.
I second that motion.
Thank you. So motion to approve the ABLE refresher to move forward to the full commission for approval has been seconded. Any discussion? All right, so we'll move to the vote. Commissioner Chura,
Aye.
Commissioner Rodriguez,
Aye.
and then I, Commissioner Donaldson, aye as well. So this one will move forward to the full commission for review. All right, OVI, which is operating a vehicle impaired. So this was actually created using the Accident Investigations Unit and content that was taken from NHTSA, which is the National Highway for Traffic Safety Administration. So again, we could actually look at this one as, part of a supplemental train, I guess you could say. There can be changes made to this if necessary. And I'll just pull this one up here. Some of the processes within this training are standard and they can't be updated. But again, if there's any supplemental trainings, those can be added. but this is actually an 8-hour course. So it's a full day of training. And then, like I said, references includes the some GPOs. There's also, like I said, curriculum pulled from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. And what they did, from my understanding, was took those guidelines, that curriculum, and kind of put it together to create this training. All right, so going through this one, any initial thoughts?
So I think for me, I might have missed it, but I really like how they really emphasize why it's important. And they provided a fact of like in 2019, there were 1,041 crashes in Ohio, and about like 351 or 30% were alcohol related. And really emphasizing the importance of, why you're learning this, as well as, doing it correctly, and then what can happen.
Yes, I agree. I saw that part as well. And just to, I guess, offer like a summary to anyone who might be watching and may not have this pulled up. So this is basically talking through for officers identifying when OBI, which, like I said, is operating a vehicle impaired, when an OBI vehicle is to be seized, when blood testing can be used, when to administer breath tests. It talks about chemical testing. And so it goes through the steps and the processes related to that. Anything you want to add, Commissioner Chura, from your days?
In my days, it was like 2 tickets and a couple forms. Now it's really complicated. But I think this GPO or this training really specifies the student performance objectives, shows exactly what you need to do and what you need to know. Used to be they would have almost an intoxilizer in every district, and hopefully you had an operator. But there's some guys that'll like go out and they'll specialize in this because they want the court time. You go to court a lot of times to show that the machine was calibrated, things like that. But I think it explains everything. If you had this with you when you're doing traffic, I think you could get through it no matter what until you get to know it so well as some of the experts out there that do it all the time. A lot of different things are on here now. Nystagmus gaze, that's all sort of new. Not real new, it's been out there for a while, but for Cleveland, I've never seen it like on there. So yeah, I think it's pretty good lesson plan.
Thank you. And the other thing, which I can't remember exactly which page it was on, but it did talk about how other departments can be used as resources if needed to assist with these type of scenarios. The end of this includes copies of the forms that have to be filled out. It also talks through the proper way to submit the forms and what to, I guess, make sure you're including on the forms as you're filling them out. So that part is at the end. And there's also parts about kind of like a knowledge check or a test that's included as well. So it's definitely a pretty lengthy process. This guide alone is like 43 pages. So it's there are a lot of steps you have to take. Very, very detailed information regarding that. So yeah, anything to add to that? All right.
Let me ask a question, because I don't remember off the top of my head. Like, do they fill out the different papers during the training?
I don't believe so. You mean like as you're going through the training, do you fill out like
Or,
an example or? I
yeah.
don't believe so. But we can ask.
Well, I mean, or maybe the top one.
I mean, just to like see an example of how it should look.
That might be helpful.
That's that. Thank you. All right. So OBI is complete as well. And there's nothing to add to that. We can also move that forward.
I move to pass the OVI operating a vehicle impaired training to the full commission held on November 20th.
I second that motion.
All right, thank you. Motion has been presented and seconded to move the OVI training to the full commission for approval. If there's no discussion, we'll move to the vote. All right, so Commissioner Chura,
Aye.
Commissioner Rodriguez,
I,
and I, Commissioner Donaldson, and I as well. So that one will move. Also, I meant to say this earlier, but when I send all of these to the full commission, I will include notes about, how the trainings were created, how we may not necessarily be able to change certain guidelines within them, but we can provide supplemental suggestions or ideas. So I'll include that in my notes to the full commission as well. All right, so the bias-free policing for supervisors. So this one is actually new. So this will be the first year. The plan is to build the training up off of this one. It was created in collaboration with Polis Solutions, and this is a supplement to the online bias-free training that we reviewed. I believe it was earlier this year we went through that one. So this particular training is meant to be for supervisors. So 4-hour-long course, and like I said, supplemental based on the online training as well. And you can see in the first page here, it says this. So prior to attending this course, supervisors shall successfully complete a review of the division's online bias-free policing training module. This one does include videos as well. So there are different scenarios. I think there were 3 total that are kind of presented and talked through. And then, there are follow-up questions. There are group discussions. The participants are broken off into different groups. One of the questions I had about this was the wording. For example, on page 4, when it talks about the one scenario here that was related to, I believe it was the person who was arrested, who was shopping in a mall, and they were arrested based on them looking like the suspect, or they had some.
He wasn't arrested, handcuffed.
Yeah, handcuffed. Yep. So the one thing I just highlighted here was this sentence that says, immediately speak with the involved officers to understand the full context of the situation and make it clear that such behavior is unacceptable. And so I guess initially reading that, I went back to that particular example, and I was confused, as I know what they mean by understanding the full context of the situation, but in the example that was provided, I guess in the end that was unacceptable, right? So if you're understanding the full context, but you're still gonna come to the conclusion that it was unacceptable. So I don't know. That to me, that the way that was worded just kind of threw me off a little bit. Maybe I'm overthinking it. But yeah.
Was the one where the video was camera was left on after the shooting?
Yeah, now that was a separate one. So, any thoughts on this? Questions about it? So the second scenario here. Oh, well, yeah. So there's the video. The case study one was the incident involved where a person was handcuffed, believed to be another suspect. And then 2 was the suspicious person who was ordering plants. I don't know, 2 here. Yeah, it says 2 was that one. Let me call it. Yeah, that was 2. All right, so the other thing is that this training does tie into the late factors, which I remember reviewing those factors when we saw the bias-free training earlier this year. So I appreciated how they tied in all of those factors. So late is legal, administrative, tactical, ethical, and then social. So they went through each one separately and talked about those factors as they relate to the scenarios that were provided. So I appreciated that. The other thing is there's clearly a breakout in the expectations for the officer approach in the scenarios that were provided, and then also the actions by our supervisor. So I also thought that that part was well done as far as giving supervisors points on their actions as they go through the scenarios. Since this training is for supervisors, then of course you want to make sure you do that. Yeah. Any thoughts on these? Any things that you all would suggest? And here it is. So there, the 3 videos. So one was overt bias, right? That was the private conversation one. And then there was the lawful police action with public perception of bias. And then there was the questionable police action. But yeah. I know that the plan is to build upon this training. I was trying to think of ways that it could be built upon, and I guess I may not really know that until they go through it for the first time. And maybe based on the feedback they receive, they can make changes. But my initial review, I couldn't really think of anything that could be added to it. Do I have any thoughts on that? All right, so the end of it, just lesson summary, question and answer, and then that's pretty much it. Oops, my bad. There we go. All right, there it is. Cool. All right.
Well, I would say I think it's good that they're building different sections and different ways, because fire to wire to neurons fire that wire together, and repetition is key, right? To get this concept and the skills constantly in your brain, I guess. So I look forward to the other trainings that they look forward to complete for bias free as well.
Mhm.
So do you know how, was this in partnership with POES or?
Yeah, so it was in collaboration with Polo Solutions, is what I was told. And it will also be an annual thing, but this will be the first, or next year will be the first year. All right, so I think we're good with that one. I don't have anything to add to it. Wait, let me go back because there was another thing that I highlighted. Yeah, the one question I had was, and maybe you can help me with this. So the scenario with the person being handcuffed in the mall, it talked about at one point the factors that would make that acceptable, and it talked about how officers shouldn't proceed in that situation unless they have like confirmed information from like the anonymous tips, all that kind of thing. So when they put in here that the action was lawful and necessary, I didn't know if in that scenario if it was lawful and necessary. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, so I thought that was confusing to me.
I kind of thought, if he was the only guy that met that description at the time, but still, the first officer there should have, kind of waited a little bit for backup, but just in case things were going to get swirly, you still have more people there. But I guess you're going to approach it. It's almost safer for both people to, if you're cuffed, if you didn't do anything, then
Yeah.
it's embarrassing as heck. But no one's usually going to get hurt that way. Nobody's going to hopefully escalate anything. There was a lot there with, I thought that they should have been looking at before they probably approached the guy.
Yeah. And I guess that, so the way it's worded here, so what is the appropriate course of action to resolve this situation? So yeah, I'm just not sure, and I can ask this question, if these points are things that should be done, like all 7 of the points, or just saying like these are suggestions. So that's kind of what my question is, in that particular scenario that we watched on the video, I didn't know if that would be considered lawful and necessary.
And I think one thing to add that while this is their first year, probably going to implement it, I know that the policy committee is looking to hire a bias-free consultant, which might provide more information, and that way we can compare possibly different trainings or different information that might help to impact this training as well.
Just want to add real quick that, the apology is, if you're wrong, you're wrong, and you apologize to the citizen. And it happens, kind of quite frequently. You might have a blue Chevy involved in a shooting or something, and, you pull a blue Chevy over with some people in it. You might have to, make sure you're coming down a little bit heavy, but, then you explain to them why, and then you can even have radio broadcast that description. Then once they hear the description, then they kind of get why you're pulled over, why things are, you're treating it pretty special there.
Thank you. All right, well, I think we'll go with this one. I'll send the questions over to just clarify, at least for me, and then we'd be good with that one to go for it as well.
I move that the bias-free policing for supervisors be moved to the full commission on November 20th, 2024.
I second the motion.
All right, thank you. Motion has been seconded to approve the bias-free policing for supervisors training and send it to the full commission for review and approval. If there aren't any discussions, we'll move to the vote.
To the chair, did we approve the send the OBI through?
Yes, we did. Yep.
I didn't have a check mark.
All right, so Commissioner Chura
Aye.
and Commissioner Rodriguez.
Aye.
And I, Commissioner Donaldson, I as well. So that one is approved, and we'll move to the full commission for review. All right, thank you for that. Public comment?
Lou. This kind of doing that.
Well, glad that we have got all these trainings, the necessary trainings, checked, approved. However, this does not change the fact that there are other important issues. I mean, this commission still has not been able to actually make a good standing on behalf of the whole community. You know, people expect commissioners to do the oversight work. That's because we know there are lots of obstacles in politics. And yes, nobody would deny that corruption is still there. However, for commissioner to pass all these trainings, at least this time, we have people really doing some homework, reading them through, asking questions to get them passed. So how come we do not have that kind of a solid work to all the important things on the accountability and all other issues, which are also important? And this is what the community have been puzzled by this. And of course, right now it's towards the end of the year. And we know some of you, the term has been almost done. But still, if you want to put all the efforts together, guess what kind of grade this batch of the commissioner totally you will all get together. It will not be that kind of training. It will not be the same. I hope this training will really help the officers, but the problem still stands. If you guys do not really do the same solid work to tackle other issues, once they graduate from the academy, come into the force to work, those issues are not resolved as simple as training course can do. Thank you.
Thank
Charles,
you for
may I
that.
have the floor for a moment?
Yep.
Okay. I just want to say, I know, Charles, this may be your last training committee meeting. I think that you have cleared your backlog of training. And I just want to say, from the time that now Co-Chair Adams first formed this committee and then you subsequently taking it over, I think this has been one of the models in the last 2 years based on my observation for how you get work done collaboratively, cooperatively, without conflict. You can disagree. There's been some disagreements at this table through training and what should be in it. But at the end of the day, you did the work. And I just wanted to say, it's been a pleasure to see you chair this as you go out the door, and you did a great job. And you should be proud, and the committee members who supported that should also be proud. So just wanted to acknowledge that for the community, that I think this committee has been one of the exceptional models, despite a lot of chatter that work can't get done. It's just not true, and this is part of the reason of that. So to all of you on this committee, great work.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So yeah, I mean, thank you all for trusting me to, chair this committee. I will say that when I first joined the commission, I did not want to chair any committees, just because it's new to me. But it's one of those things where you do have to step out of your comfort zone. So thank you all for trusting me to do that. Yeah, learned a lot. I'll be around. So that's one of the reasons why I put to be determined on the agenda for the next meeting, because I'm not quite sure if there will be anything for the rest of the year. But yeah, last one. So thanks again. I'll be around. I'll be in contact. And then I'll see you all next week anyway. So but yeah, so if there aren't any more public comments, we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you.
Two more years.